How do you know if a dude is lying if his lips is moving? Sprinkle, sprinkle.
Because it goes back to the core of this sprinkle sprinkle movement, which is about getting a man to open his wallet. So first, when she says she hasn't found a guy worthy of dating her, this just means that she hasn't found
your life is going to look like this Taylor Swift song. That is not why we're learning this information.
Okay, along with this whole drizzle thing, there's no way that a woman has actually said that or behaved that way, but we did just
own the fact that they don't have the masculine characteristics to actually.
Welcome to my channel, Outspoken Samantha. If you are new here, welcome. I would love it since you clicked on the video to watch it. If you would also help me to grow this channel and hit that subscribe button now. And if you are returning, welcome back. I truly do appreciate your continued support on my channel, and I hope that you are subscribed as well. I cannot even imagine trying to date in today's world. Like, my husband and I have been married for almost 15 years. We have 3 kids, so that goes without saying that both of us have been removed from the dating scene for quite a while. But every day I do see just everybody's different take on what the dating scene looks like now, and I am just so grateful that I do not have to deal with this circle. You may have heard the terms sprinkle sprinkle coming from women and drizzle drizzle coming from men, and women losing their minds over men claiming to be part of this soft guy era. And all of these things have just been blowing up, and it is just so funny to watch. Now, for those of you who have not seen this trend, you might be asking, Samantha, what are you talking about? Which is an appropriate question because it is about as stupid as it sounds, and again serves as a reminder to all of us that are not dating these days to be so grateful that we don't have to deal with this nonsense. But let me break down the sprinkle sprinkle part of it, and then we can get to how this has just become hilarious. The phrase sprinkle sprinkle was started by a TikTok creator, influencer, I don't know what they're called on TikTok, named, I believe it's Era7 Official, and she gives women dating advice based on the idea that women are entitled to everything a man has, especially his wallet, just because they're women. And I do actually think that this might be worse than feminism, because at least feminists believe that they are high value because of everything they accomplished to rival men in getting degrees and working in corporate America. But this lady is saying that you don't need to do any of that you're high value just for being a female that exists, and that the appropriate way to treat men is to manipulate them into doing everything for you, and they don't have the right to question what you bring to their life. And while she's giving advice to women on how to get men to just hand over their resources, she uses the tagline sprinkle sprinkle as a way of saying bless your heart or back at you. So just to give you an idea, this is what that looks like.
How do you know if a dude is lying if his lips is moving? Sprinkle, sprinkle. You said there's nothing wrong with 2 incomes. That's right. So there should be nothing wrong with you having 2 jobs. Sprinkle, sprinkle.
That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
So she just kind of throws it in there randomly, and I can't even say it with a straight face. I would never be able to say something like that and expect to be taken seriously, but this is just a little bit of the advice that she is giving to women.
For money without feeling that, like this. Do you want to make me happy right now? Yeah, of course I do. I want to make you happy too. Well, what do you want? Then whisper in his ear like this. I want you to take me to the ATM and give me as much money as you choose. It's like, okay, let's go.
So yeah, basically the idea is just to utilize your feminine energy to get men to give you money. And that's it. And this says everything about what these women really think of men. Like, all men, that men are only good for their wallets, that the only value they have in themselves is if they can spend their hard-earned money on women, and that none of them are smart enough to recognize when they're being manipulated. And my question is, why would any man want to have a serious relationship with someone who thinks so little of men in general? I mean, sure, he might entertain this crap for a little bit just to have a little bit of fun with you, but make no mistake, it's not because he sees the value in you that you see in yourself. It's because all he has to do is give you a few dollars to have an enjoyable night with you. And there's a name for women who get money for things like that. Now, you might be thinking that this woman is alone in her ridiculousness and that there's no one that would actually apply the advice she is giving, but you would be wrong. So let's just find a few of these clips of women actually applying the things that they are learning from Sprinkle Sprinkle Lady.
So I just tested Miss Sprinkle Sprinkle's advice. In short, it worked. Shira7 said, when you go out by yourself. I did. I went to the happy hour at a very wealthy, predominant place in Philadelphia. I went to the Four Seasons, JG Sky High to be exact, at the time that she said, which is earlier than later. Literally, those men in there were on me like I was honey and they were bees. Now, she said to go by yourself because there were other girls that came as a group that was trying to do the same thing. Baby, they didn't pay them no mind because that's intimidating. They didn't want to go up there to 7 girls and then get let down. But me sitting at the bar by myself, I literally made connects with 3 people and my tab was paid. So there was literally nothing that I lost in this experience. Sprinkle, sprinkle.
I actually think that people should make more of an effort to meet someone in person versus trying to use these dating apps, which are an absolute zoo. However, her intentions were not to meet a guy to have a genuine connection with, because it goes back to the core of this sprinkle sprinkle movement, which is about getting a man to open his wallet. So she got her tab paid, and her belief is that this is owed to her just because she's a woman and men with money were in the room. So let's look at another one.
Becoming a sprinkle sprinkle girly has completely changed how I engage with men. Ever since learning about sprinkle sprinkle and growing deeper into it, I've just been so excited to apply it in my dating life. But unfortunately, in the last month since becoming a sprinkle sprinkle girly, I haven't really found any guy worthy of dating me or going on even dates with me. So I haven't really gotten a chance to fully apply it just yet. But then I noticed today that I actually have been applying sprinkle sprinkle even with guys like I'm not dating. I'm with this guy today and I had to call an Uber because he didn't have Uber on his phone. And I was so worried because I was like, oh my God, this ride is 50 euros. I don't want to end up paying for it. Because of sprinkle sprinkle, I am now a lot more confident and comfortable with asking men for money. And I asked them at the end of the ride, I was like, so are you gonna reimburse me for that ride? Yeah, absolutely. And then like, by the time I got out the car, he handed me the 50 euros and I was like, in my head, I was like, thank you. And I didn't even say thank you out loud because like, why? Of course you should pay for us to get from point A to point B. These men requested my presence out here. They brought me to this location. Like, they need to make sure I get home.
This is what it's all about. The sprinkle sprinkle mindset has taken the entitlement of women from bad to worse, because it's not just about getting into a relationship with a guy so that he can take care of you, but the mindset is that all women should expect all men to just cover women's expenses no matter what. That women shouldn't have to pay for anything, and that if there is any kind of bill or cost to cover, it's automatically a man's responsibility, any man in the vicinity, to do so. If you're in the room with a woman who wants something, someone, a male figure in her presence, needs to bust out his credit card. In the caption, she says that being a sprinkle sprinkle girl is the financially responsible thing to do. It saved me $175 today. So this next one is actually kind of funny because it seems like this girl is trying to mix her feminist brainwashing in with what the sprinkle sprinkle girls believe, and it just turns into this big ol' mess.
If you were studying up on the sprinkle sprinkle lady just to get a guy who has nothing going for him to fall in love with you because you want him to fall in love with you because you think your life is going to look like this Taylor Swift song, that is not why we're learning this information, okay? Because that doesn't exist. That's not a thing. That's a Taylor Swift song, okay? We're not using these things to get a man to love us. That is often what happens because we're basically hacking psychology and hacking sociology. And the thing is with men and women and dating dynamics, especially with men, is that it is largely psychological and sociologically driven. As we live in a society and have lived in a society since like the dawn of history, specifically in America, that has been catering towards men, and everything has been suppressing women and what we know about ourselves and enabling men. So even if men aren't intentionally bad people, even if they're not intentionally misogynistic, even if they're not intentionally taking advantage of women, they have this conditioning, which we all have the conditioning to an extent, but they have this conditioning that is inherently patriarchal and misogynistic. So basically what we're doing is we're hacking the psychology behind that to get a means to our own ends. It's about reclaiming power. But there's no point in reclaiming power and putting yourself through all of these efforts if the end goal is just to get a guy to love you? Because we are wanting and asking and demanding more out of life than that.
So first, just to touch on this idea of how society has been oppressing women, I would actually argue that it's women that are oppressing women and creating a whole generation of women that know absolutely nothing about themselves. And you know how I know that? Because the more that women have pursued lives that are identical to men, the years and years of the education, the long hours in the office, the promotions, the long commutes, being a slave to your career, these same women end up miserable because their biology and their nature eventually emerges, and they realize that they do not want the things that they were told women only want because men have said that they want it. It turns out that they want these things because they're women, and high demand careers do not fulfill our nature. Feminism oppresses women. Men do not oppress women. And newsflash, these men do not want to compete with women to be the man of the house. Ultimately, it was just a whole lot of rambling, and I know that she thinks she was being super clear on that explanation, but it was about as clear as mud. Basically, men are intentionally suppressing women. They're just born naturally misogynistic, and it's not enough for a man to love you, but you've got to manipulate him into giving you something that means more, which is his wallet. Men value being respected, and they know when they're being used. And they don't even have to try to dissect the psychology of the signals that you are putting off to know that they're being used, because you guys are proudly spreading it all over TikTok that you are using men for their wallet. But since just leaving the dating scene has not clicked with women, that maybe they need to rethink their approach, men have now decided to just give it right back to women by repeating all of the ridiculous things that women have said to or about men, hoping that this might wake women up to the reason that men are staying away. So instead of using the phrase like sprinkle, sprinkle, they are using the tagline drizzle, drizzle. And I think the soft guy era is meant to counter women's use of things like boss babe and feminist, like when a woman says that I'm in this independent season of life, or I'm in this boss babe stage of my life. I think guys are using this soft guy era to be the male version of those things. So let's have a look at a couple of these clips because they're just awesome.
I go on a date with a female and the bill comes and I look at it and I say, it was so good to see you and everything. She don't pick up the bill. And she said, oh, you're not going to pay for it? I said, what? Drizzle, drizzle. I'm not going to pay for anything. That's giving me an ick. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, you should be paying for the bill. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I got ready. Like, my suit cost like thousands of dollars. I got ready for you. My cologne cost a couple thousand. Like, I got ready and showed up. Like, I don't know what you're on, but I'm in my soft guy era, drizzle, drizzle. So I'm just trying to make sure that you understand that what's happening here is that you need to really put out. I don't know really what you have to offer. You could just say you're broke.
So I think this is absolutely hilarious, and this is the appropriate response, because if you just replace the words woman with the word man, this would literally be identical to what women are saying about men. Like, ew, I'm not paying the bill. Like, that just gives me the ick. Like, if you're just broke, just say you're broke. I mean, I don't need no man. I'm in my boss babe era, or I'm in my feminist. And as I said, the point that these men are trying to make is so that they can say these things for women to hear, so that they can see what it's like to be a man on the receiving end of this garbage, or to be a man scrolling through TikTok and see countless videos of women talking about men this way with nothing but disgust and disrespect. So let's look at another one.
I just got off the phone with someone I was seeing, and she asked me how my day was going, and I explained I was at the airport. And then she said, I'm glad you got there safe. And I said, yeah, I had to take an Uber. I had to block her. I mean, she was great and everything. She was emotionally intelligent, always paid for dinner, pretty much catered to my every need. But if you hear I'm taking an Uber to the airport and your first move is not to open up Venmo and send me money, are you even a real woman? And then you find out I'm on a commercial flight and you don't immediately charter me a private jet? I know my worth, drizzle, drizzle. I'm in my soft guy era. I want to be pampered. And if you're broke, just say that.
When I first saw this clip, I was like, he is just playing along with this whole drizzle thing. There's no way that a woman has actually said that or behaved that way, but we did just see a clip of a woman who asked a guy she wasn't even dating, and who knows if she even knew him, to reimburse her for her Uber, and then bragged about how this sprinkle movement is giving her more courage to ask guys to pay for things for no reason other than the fact that they're a man and she has a cost that needs to be covered. We have to do one more.
Kings, this girl sends me a message, says, "Hey handsome, how's your day?" So I send her a message back, "Not a good day." She's like, "Oh no, what's wrong?" I'm like, "I was day trading, took the long position in DJT, lost $25,000. And she's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I hope you make it back." I instantly hit her with a block. First of all, I'm in my soft guy era. I'm not day trading to lose money. If you find out that I lost $25,000 in the stock market, I better see you put that $25,000 back in my brokerage account. Drizzle. If you can't put it in my brokerage account, Zelle me the money right now. Drizzle. Second, I should not have had to tell you that I was having a bad day. You should be able to feel my energy, drizzle. If I manifested you because I don't chase, I attract, you should know already how I'm feeling before you send me that text. And strike 3, don't even start with, "Hey handsome," or any of that BS. Do not start my day with the message without first sending me a Cash App notification that there's funds in my account. If you wanted to, you would. If you want me in your life, you would. If you don't, someone else will. No more brokies in 2024. King.
So again, he's playing on this idea that if you're talking to a woman who has lost money or is in need of money for any reason, then the automatic reaction of a man would be to offer to reimburse her for it, even if it has absolutely nothing to do with him. And this all sounds so nuts, but this is what women are doing. So women's reaction to this is not to understand that they're being mocked, but to actually get mad because they think that these men are being serious.
You serious?
These women think these guys are just being honest about how they view relationships and that they're just coming out, in a sense, as effeminate men.
I would much rather dusty men know their place and own the fact that they don't have the masculine characteristics to actually provide for a woman and be the leader of a family. It's gonna make dating for women a lot easier.
I don't know what's going on or if anybody else could relate, but this generation of men want to be chased so badly, and I'm not about to do it, princess. I swear to you, they're looking for like good morning texts. They want flowers sent to their job. They want date nights planned. Like the last couple of guys that I've been speaking to, they wanted me to chase them, and I promise you, you got the wrong one.
This is just so funny because obviously these men do not want flowers sent to them. All of these women are totally about being masculine and think it's totally fine, and they don't see the problem with it. But then they call out these guys who are acting in a way that goes against their nature, and suddenly they're freaking out. They don't even realize that they're proving that it's not okay for either men or women to be acting like the opposite of what they are. And they don't understand why men are done with women that act like them. And they play these stupid games like using words like sprinkle and openly admitting that you play with men just to get their money. Then they're mad when the men play games right back at them. It's not even worth it to pursue somebody that only wants them for their wallet, because they know that if there is ever a shortage of funds, that woman will walk away and leave. Honestly, this is so disrespectful and gross. And as much as these women think that you are a high value woman for thinking this way, it is actually the opposite. A woman who does this is anything but a high value woman. It shows how shallow you are and that you have no moral compass or love for anybody but yourself. All of this effort that you spend on creating these ridiculous movements, maybe spend that time and energy on becoming a nice person. And you know what goes a long way with men? Not believing you're entitled, but showing genuine appreciation when he does do something genuinely nice for you. Because if a guy does something thoughtful for you without you asking or without you manipulating him into doing it, it means he is listening and it means he's paying attention. He could bring a lot to the table, whereas you, the only thing that you are bringing to the table is a headache. But I would love to hear all of your thoughts on this whole thing in the comments below. It just sounds so incredibly silly, but I love the way that guys have responded to this. And women, I would encourage you to do better and let go of these ideas that men are against you. If they want to provide and take care of you on a genuine level, that means that they respect you. Anyway, please be sure to hit that like button. It helps me in the algorithm. Leave your comments below. Be sure that you are subscribed. I am trying to grow this channel. Keep it real, guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.